lot of talk has been made about the Cowboys, Brian Schottenheimer, and what he is trying to do with the culture of this team. Now, Zach, as you've been around for some of these practices and so forth, does it look like the culture is different? Like, does it look like there's something different, or does it just look like there's just a new energy?
Yeah, the energy. I think it's going to be tough to really overhaul the culture when, to me, the foundation and the culture really kind of starts at the top. So is it possible? Like, this is going to be a fantastic case study of if Brian Schottenheimer can actually go ahead and instill a difference here. I've always said I think it's going to take the right type of head coach, but also quarterback. And Dak is the right kind of quarterback in terms of what you want, leadership, mentality. Unfortunately, as we discussed yesterday, I've now lost hope in a postseason game, games on the line, offense is coming onto the field. I think we're just going to be looking at a complete train wreck because that's what we've seen. So I'm just going by history. I hope I'm proven wrong. But yeah, I think right now the energy is the buzzword. Everything, tempo, the way that they're doing things with the music, the way that coaches are now going up and saying hello and communicating. I think that there's certain aspects of this that are going to be better. I think the Cowboys are going to be better than a lot of people think. I'm picking them to win the division this year. I think they're going to be a 10-win team. I think that the NFC East is going to cannibalize each other a little bit, and it's a tough schedule for the entire division.
Yes, it is.
So I think 10 wins could possibly get to Division 1 this year. Maybe it'll take 11. But I've got to see this in games. Like with Brian Schottenheimer, everything is great right now. It's very kumbaya. But can this translate to game day? And how is Brian Schottenheimer as a coach on game day? But right now, yeah, I do think the building of relationships and the teaching aspect of it, which we've heard some coaches don't like to do.
Right? You're a pro. You should be able to do this stuff already. You don't need – Ron Washington loves working drills with you because he knows that's the stuff that you're going to encounter. Tiger Woods would always work on the hardest hits, the things that he never would find because I might find that in one day, and how do I handle it whenever I do? I like what you said about the quarterback and the offense. I don't want to just put this solely on Dak, but I think a part of culture is belief, and it goes to Ted Lasso, obviously. But whenever you really believe, dude, our quarterback is going to pull this off. All I got to do is get the ball back for him this one time, and he's going to do it. And then it doesn't happen over and over, and then you start to go, I don't think it's going to happen. And that's where I think some people might be. And you're right, replacing culture is not just replacing coach. Sometimes it is players. Because if you have bad seeds in there, bad apples, it becomes a problem. The Florida Panthers, obviously winning the Cup, you can pretty much say anything and you look good. But winning 2 in a row, pretty significant deal. Sam Bennett said that their culture, he said, it starts with our culture here. There's a way we do things here, and it's not easy. We don't play an easy style of hockey, and it demands a lot out of you. And what was our biggest complaint about the Stars throughout this postseason? They weren't physical enough. The Florida Panthers culture is we will forecheck, we will back check, we will take care of every little trash that's out in front of our goalie. We're going to do all these things, and it's not the easy stuff. It's not the one-timer next to the net that puts it away that we all get to celebrate. It's the dirty work, and that's what Florida does so well. And Paul Maurice, he talked about being in Winnipeg for a while and how he just got burnt out, and he said, but right now, if you look at this team, look at the way they interact with each other, and look at the way that they interacted whenever the cup got passed around. And he said, Thomas Nosek, Vanacek, Greer, Jesper, Boquist were all new cup celebration experience for them. They were all pushed in front of the line. All the teams said, hey, we've touched this one before. Y'all go do this. He said those are the small insights for people in this group. It doesn't go captain to captain to captain to Reinhardt. He goes, all the guys who had never been there before got their chance first. They were motivated by it. And they have a culture. You watch them, you saw their culture bleeding through the way that they played, the way they celebrated, and the way they got prepared. If you paid attention to any of this Stanley Cup final, it just bled through the screen whenever you watched the Florida Panthers play. And that's the difference between, you can go find every college coach that was hired this year. I'm sure you can find 40 minutes of all of them talking about culture. And first thing I got to do is change the culture. First thing, we got to change the culture. New culture in here. That's all you're going to hear. What I've always felt is the Steelers and the Ravens have the best culture. You walk into the Ravens facility, you know what work is expected of you. And you know that if you don't live up to it, every dude in that room is going to hold you accountable. Now, they haven't won the championship, but they're always in the mix.
They're always
for
competitive
it because of the work that they put in on a daily basis. And that's the difference between saying you're going to do something about the culture and actually having something built. And I guess is that the competitiveness that you're hearing out of Schottenheimer that he wants to be in that, he wants in that building, is that the biggest, most significant thing?
Yeah, it is. It is. A lot of it is probably the competition, and really for the first time, I don't know, in a long time, I think everybody, like, it's not just the players, everybody that works in that building there at the Star seems happy right now. So I think that is a product of Brian Schottenheimer and how he does he is a people person.
Yeah, he is.
And that was one thing, like, even though I thought it was an uninspiring hire and I was upset about it, I still knew, like, Brian Schottenheimer's an awesome person. And when he talks about, building relationships and he wants to create the best culture in professional sports, I do think he's got a plan and he believes that. I just wonder, can that carry over when it matters most in games? Do you see that trickle effect? Because you're right, like Paul Maurice, there's now a mic'd up that came out, and he's the fourth line. He wants the fourth line to be out there. They're the last line on the ice. He tells them, hey, we were down 2-0, game 3 against Toronto. You guys are the ones that got us here. Pulls off Barkov, puts the fourth line out there. They're out there when they win the cup, and they're celebrating with each other. It's like little things like that.
Heck yeah.
They're rewarding the dirty work that gets you ultimately to where you want to be. And that is one thing. If you go through any champion in sports, and we saw with the 2023 Rangers, they're tight. They love each other. They like spending time with each other. You spend more time with your teammates and your coaches than you do with your own family.
Absolutely,
over the course of a season. So that is something where, do you have each other's backs? Are you playing for one another?
That 11 team for the Mavericks.
Yes, absolutely. The bonds.
Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki had a bond. They spent a whole summer drinking together because they were so depressed about losing in 2006. And so then they came back and were like, hey, guess what? We're gonna do this thing. We're not letting it happen again. And it's against the Heat. While they denied it, they all knew, and every one of those guys on that team had experienced some sort of Jason Kidd, Sean Marion, Tyson Chandler. They'd had the experiences of letdown that they didn't want to let down, and they didn't want to let down their leader. They didn't want to let him down at all because they knew that he would carry them through it. I think that's another really good example
100%.
of how different. People can say it's corny. People can say it's cheesy. But whenever you're winning like that, you know what the room has. You know what those guys all are comprised of and why they are what they are. It's so much more fun that way, too,
Amen.
because you feel like you're doing something with your brothers. And it's a really good feeling. And I love this. Wins make culture, not headlines. Headlines don't make culture. Talking about it, being like, oh, man, we're going to do this. Again, difference between cliche and actually having it happen out there for you.